10 Chinese gods and their origins. Hey guys, Culture here. Today we're going to look at 10 Chinese gods and their origins. More specifically, we'll look at the powers they held and the roles they played in Chinese mythology. The best thing about Chinese mythology is that it features gods, spirits, and other deities from 3 different belief systems: Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. This multifaceted starting point has created over 200 gods, and that's just counting the main ones. I had to narrow it down a little so this episode wouldn't be around 200 minutes long. So let's look at 10 Chinese gods and their origins. Number 1. In the beginning, there was nothing. Different religion. In the beginning, there was a giant cosmic egg, inside of which grew a hairy dwarf. Except he wasn't a dwarf, he was actually a giant. It's confusing, I know. The hirsute dwarf giant's name was Pangu, and he soon came to realize that the swirling forces around him, the powers of yin and yang, would never separate by themselves. Pangu pushed apart the top and bottom halves of the egg, with yin becoming the earth and yang becoming the sky. As he pushed, he grew taller, separating the two forces even further until such a point as they would never again combine. Pangu spent his life crafting the earth into valleys and mountains with the assistance of powerful creatures: qilins, phoenixes, dragons, and tortoises. One of these things is not like the others. When Pangu died, his body broke apart to give the world rivers from his blood, forests from his hair, and animals from the parasites that lived on his body. Some versions of the myth say that humans also spawned from the parasites on his body, as though saying we evolved from monkeys wasn't offensive enough. Finally, Pangu's left and right eyes became the sun and moon respectively, which is faintly reminiscent of the tale of Izanagi in Japanese mythology. Thanks to Pangu, the world was born. Number 2. Following Pangu's death, a number of other deities popped up to shape the earth. These included the god of water Gonggong, the god of fire Zhurong, and the second entry on this list, the goddess Nuwa. Nuwa had the upper half of a human and the lower half of a snake, and she also had a brother called Fu Shi. There are 2 separate myths concerning Nuwa, but both credit her with creating the first humans. In one version, Nuwa and Fu Shi wanted to breed, but feared judgment since they were siblings. To ask for the heavens' permission, they lit 2 separate fires and watched the smoke. If the smoke crossed, they would take it as approval from the heavens, but if the smoke dispersed, they would take it as a denial. All I can imagine is Fu Shi blowing desperately trying to get the 2 pillars of smoke to cross because he wanted that snake lady lovin'. The other version has Nuwa creating humans herself out of mud, carefully crafting each person. However, she soon realized it would take forever to fill up the earth with people in this way, so she dipped a rope into the pool of mud and flung it around, with each glob becoming a separate person. The story goes that those people created by hand became rich, popular, and powerful, while those who were flung from the rope became people like Crash. Nuwa also saved the world from destruction when Gonggong and Zhurong fought. The collateral damage from their tussle caused the destruction of a mountain supporting the heavens, so Nuwa acted quickly, cutting the legs off a giant tortoise and using them as pillars to support the heavens. How sick is that? Number 3. If you are hoping for a Zeus or Odin-like figure in Chinese mythology, the closest you'll get is this guy called Yu Huang. He's no big deal really, he's just the Jade Emperor, or as he is sometimes known, peace-absolving, central august, spirit-exalted, ancient Buddha, most pious and honorable, His Highness the Jade Emperor, Xuanling High Sovereign. This title has many forms, but the point is I was totally lying before, and he's a huge deal. Also known as Shangdi, meaning emperor, this figure was essentially the god of all gods. The human emperors of China gained their authority to rule from him, acting as their conduit to heaven. All the other gods work under him in this weird, deified bureaucracy that exists to protect the people of Earth and keep the world together. Following the Shang dynasty, Shangdi was conflated with the notion of Tian, meaning the heavens. That's how important the Jade Emperor was. His only equivalent notion is literally the heavens themselves. Tian alone was said to judge whether the ruling empire was worthy to lead its people and, if necessary, end the dynasty. Number 4. In Chinese mythology, there exists a guarded paradise for the gods called Kunlun Mountain. In tales, this mountain is said to connect heaven and earth, heavily fortified by vast moats and steep cliffs. Yet on this mountain is a lush garden tended to by the goddess of immortality, Shi Wang Mu. Shi Wang Mu, meaning Queen Mother of the West, is depicted as an old woman with a leopard's tail and tiger's teeth. But there's no need to be scared of her. She only determines the lifespan of every living thing in existence with her powers of creation and destruction. On a brighter note though, she also hosts parties at her golden palace, Every year on her birthday, Shi Wang Mu invites the other gods over for a feast of monkey lips and dragon liver. If that doesn't satiate your appetite, the final course is a rare flat peach called a pantao. This peach grows on a special tree cultivated by Shi Wang Mu herself that only sprouts once every 3,000 years and gives immortality to whoever eats it. No offense, Nana, but your Sunday roast has nothing on this old lady's life peaches. Number 5. If you were looking for a mythology without some kind of painful judgment in the afterlife, you've come to the wrong place. In Chinese mythology, the god of the dead is Yamo, or King Yan Wang, an angry-looking old man who delivers punishments to the deceased who carry bad karma. Yama rules Diyu, a kind of underworld court in which Yama weighs the deeds of a person's life. If he looks favorably upon you, you are reincarnated with a good life, but if he thinks you are kind of a douchebag, then you'll be punished severely before being reincarnated in a less than favorable position. There are many accounts for how Diyu was structured. A Buddhist version sees Diyu divided into 10 courts, each ruled by a Yama king, that would each report to Yan Wang. Another account created during the Tang Dynasty holds that there were 18 levels of hell, each designed with a different torturous method depending on the severity of the sinner's crime. The lowest level, Avitsi, was reserved for people who intentionally killed their parents or inflicted harm upon a deity. In Avitsi, the sinner undergoes unspeakable and incessant suffering and is, by some reports, never allowed to be reincarnated. This Yan Wang guy really doesn't mess around. Number 6. Before we do this next entry, you guys have to promise me that we're all mature people here, okay? We're not gonna laugh at the name of this next god. The Dragon King, also known as Long Wang, is the ruler of the seas. Okay, I don't want to focus on this too long, but look at the result you get when you search Long Wang on Google. I mean, are you kidding me? I'd braced myself for the inevitable penis jokes, but this came out of left field and destroyed me. Okay, moving on. The Dragon King comes in many forms, but perhaps the most popular version depicts 5 separate dragons that each has their own domain, season, and element. The green dragon, the red dragon, the white dragon, the black dragon, and their leader, the yellow dragon. Furthermore, each of the dragons represents one of the 5 Taoist elements: wood, fire, metal, water, and earth. The yellow dragon does not rule over a specific body of water, but rather exists to control the others and deliver the messages of the Jade Emperor to each of them in their houses at the bottom of the seas. Number 7. Guan Yin, the goddess of mercy, is by far one of the most popular goddesses, and as such has a rich backstory. Originally derived from an Indian male deity called Avalokiteshvara, Guan Yin was given her own origin story around the 12th century in a tale called The Legend of Miao Shan. In this story, Guan Yin begins life as Miao Shan, the daughter of Prince Zhuang of Chu. Miao Shan desperately wants to join a temple, committing her life to religion instead of marriage, but her father refuses. After much pleading, her father agrees, but tells the monks of the temple to assign Miao Shan so many chores as to make her time there unbearable. Miao Shan completes all the tasks set to her anyway. With the help of animal friends, she is lured with her kindness and generosity. Her father was a bit of a prick, so he decided to burn down the temple to stop her living there, but Miao Shan put out the fire with her bare hands. Prince Zhuang then decided enough was enough and had his daughter executed. But even then, Miao Shan was so full of goodness that she turned Diyu into a paradise. Yan Wang wasn't at all happy with this and exiled Miao Shan from Diyu. In doing so, Miao Shan became the goddess Guan Yin and looked over people from Fragrant Mountain. She wanted to help all people, but did not have the power to do so, so another deity gave her 1,000 arms with which to reach out to those in need. Needless to say, as one of the nicest goddesses, Guan Yin was and still is extremely popular in Chinese folk religion. Number 8. Chinese gods aren't all about being omnipotent creators of life. Some of them just have menial jobs like the rest of us. Take Zhao Shen for example, the stove god. Zhao Shen's job is to live above the stove of each family's house and take note of their actions throughout the year. Then, a week before Chinese New Year, Zhao Shen reports how good the family has been to the Jade Emperor, who himself decides whether to bring good fortune to that family in the coming year. Talk about big government, this bureaucracy literally sticks one of its agents right in the middle of your kitchen. Families in China have a number of methods to butter up Zhao Shen so he gives them good reports. Above the stove is a paper effigy of the god that is taken down on the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month. Homeowners will smear honey on the lips of the effigy to sweeten his words, or, by some accounts, to seal his lips shut. The effigy is then burnt to release Zhao Shen up to the heavens, and firecrackers sent off to expedite his journey. Knowing that Zhao Shen will be away until New Year's, the family is free to perform disreputable acts like gambling and drinking, And then, when Zhao Shen arrives back, the family holds a feast and hangs a new effigy above their stove. Number 9. This entry is a couple, the god and goddess of love, Niu Lang and Ji Nu. Their love was so strong that not even the heavens could keep them apart forever. Isn't that just so beautiful it makes you want to throw up on yourself? The couple first fell in love when they were stars, with Niu Lang being Altair and Ji Nu being Vega. However, Ji Nu was Shi Wangmu's youngest granddaughter, and she forbid the two from seeing each other, exiling Niu Lang from the heavens and condemning him to the life of a lowly cowhand. Ji Nu became the weaver of clothes for all the other gods, but she was still forlorn. One day, her sisters decided to visit a place called the Lotus Garden on Earth and invited Ji Nu along. They disrobed and bathed in the waters of the Lotus Garden. Suddenly, one of the girls spotted a man spying on them. Ji Nu's sisters grabbed their robes and fled, but Ji Nu's robes were missing. The man approached with Ji Nu's robe in hand, and she realized it was her long-lost love, Niu Lang. He had been instructed by his cow friend, literally a cow, that if he stole the red robe from the Lotus Garden, that he would find his wife. Now, usually, most girls would say, "That's really creepy, get the hell away from me," and spray mace in the guy's face. But Ji Nu thought this was romantic for some stupid reason. They fell in love once again, living on Earth, but Shi Wangmu soon found out and retrieved her granddaughter. Niu Lang chased after her, loudly proclaiming his love, and Shi Wangmu was so moved by his words that she made an agreement. He could live in the heavens once more, but could only meet with Ji Nu on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month. This day is now Chinese Valentine's Day, when they hold the Qixi or Double Seventh festival. Number 10. As with everything in life, this list ends up back at money. Kai Shen, the god of wealth, is unsurprisingly very popular in China. Shrines to the rich deity are abundant both in people's houses and in workplaces, purported to bring wealth to those people under his care. Kai Shen is depicted as a man draped in fine silk robes and holding awesome-looking ingots of gold in the shape of a boat, called yuan baos. Kai Shen wasn't all about that sweet renminbi though. He also represents having a rich life with good fortune in other aspects of the family's well-being. Apart from essentially being the treasurer for the Jade Emperor's bureaucracy, Kai Shen also had the ability to turn iron to gold and rode the baddest steed in Chinese mythology, a black tiger. He's so cool that he even made me use the word baddest, a grammatically incorrect slang term. I have to wash my mouth out with soap now. Chinese culture has really benefited from all its many influences, creating some truly unique gods. However, this also means that there are about a dozen different versions of every story, so I've just picked my personal favourite tales for this list. We'd love to hear some other versions and different Chinese myths in the comments section. See you all next week. If you enjoy what we do here at Culture Crash, please consider supporting the show via our Patreon, where we have a bunch of awesome rewards, or by checking out our online store. All links are in the description below.